Mr. Jitendra Mamtora, Chairman of Transformers and Rectifiers, and Chanchal SS Rajora, CFO and Advisor to the Board, are with us in our studios. Gentlemen, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us.
Thank you.
Mr. Mamtora, one of the notes says that TRIL beat our Q2 estimates by a mile. Now, you're making it a habit, Mr. Mamtora. I would love to understand from you what went into Q2 or the first half, and how does this augur for the company in the quarters to come?
This has been long awaited. If you just see the transformer industry, it has gone through a good time, bad time. We had very good time from 2002 to 2007. We had EBITDA margins of something like 19–20%. 2008–9 onwards, it started deteriorating because of the competition, because of the new entrants into the business who had no knowledge of the business, and they really spoiled the whole market. But ultimately, what happened was they vanished. You cannot survive if your quality is no good, if you have no passion for the business. And this business, if you say, the business in which we are, mainly I'm talking about extra high voltage transformers, the special duty transformers like transformers for the arc furnaces, for submerged arc furnaces, for the large rectifiers which are used for metal refining and producing of some chemicals like chlorine, etc. So there are no players who compete with us in those special duty transformers. We survived in those bad time when the raw material content was 80%. Gross margin were 12% only. We survived because of these special duty transformers, and we have taken it forward. And my passion was that I want to become a major player in the special duty transformers, which was ruled by 4 of the European companies, and I wanted to be one of them. These 4 companies were having a market share of 70% of the world, and we wanted to be one of them. We worked very hard. We recruited a person from Italy, a white face, because white face makes a difference at times. And we hired him. He was a technical director in one of the companies in Italy. And he moved to India with his family. The youngest child that time he had was 2-year-old.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, so
is he still working with you?
So he stayed there with us for 5 years, and after 5 years, his wife said that now it is too much. The children are growing. They started speaking
fluent
Hindi and Gujarati also. They were going to the schools, but ultimately he left, and then he didn't help so much as I thought he will. But nevertheless, we were introduced to that market. And then the opportunity started coming. I'll narrate one incident.
Sorry, the opportunity started coming, sir. You're saying in the last 3–4 years, maybe?
No, long time, about 7–8 years back.
Okay.
We got an opportunity. A factory in Russia, a steel making company, their transformer failed. So they were looking for someone who can replace the transformer very fast. And then he approached one of their agents who was an Indian. He approached Indian company, that was BHEL. BHEL suggested our name.
Wow.
Bharat Heavy Electrical suggesting our name was a credit.
Yeah.
And then,
sir, I will just request you to pause for just a moment, because we just need to mark the fact that one of the tallest leaders have passed away. This is a guard of honor in the honor of Sri Ratan Tata. And we'll keep on during the course of the day today, bring you these visuals as well. It's a sad day, Samina.
It's a tough morning. Yeah, but you know, I think we started the day off very sad, but I think now I've got a smile on my face because everyone remembers him so fondly. And that's what you leave behind, right? I mean, life is only lived if it has a legacy behind. So, but sir, you want to continue with telling us the legacy you're creating at Transformers?
Yeah, so, you know, I sent that Italian guy to Russia.
You send the Italian to Russia, I like that.
Because it was urgent.
Yes, yes.
And they were in so much of urgency that the day he landed, they placed the order.
This is BHEL had recommended your name
yeah,
to this potential
they
client.
recommended our name. And the company, on the very same moment, you know, they signed the order, they paid the advance.
And, it was a
And that was the beginning, you know, and that was a large transformer, the largest which India had made, you know, even today.
Right.
So that was the beginning of our journey.
Right.
And then we went on getting the inquiries from the other steel makers. We got the opportunity from Areva for supplying the transformer to Sterlite plant in Tuticorin for the rectifier. That was again a large transformer.
Right.
And we were honored to get the order from them.
Right.
But the condition was that our design will be
As what they like.
yeah, they will be reviewed by their experts.
Right, sir.
And they suggested something. It was just a single page, A4 page, design comments, and that has again changed my design. Yeah.
Right, so it's actually changed the fortunes of your company in a big way. And I think, like we said, the last few quarters have been phenomenal. I mean, the growth is just stupendous, to say the least. Chanchal, why don't you come in and tell us, revenues are up 80%, EBITDA is up 255%, margins have more than doubled in this quarter versus last year. Is this sort of growth sustainable? A, and B, what has been the key drivers? I know over the last few weeks, we've been hearing about your big order wins, Power Grid being one of them.
Yes.
But that, of course, will only reflect in the next quarter. What's working for you, and is this sort of growth sustainable, most importantly, for the rest of the year?
Look, the thing is this last 3 quarters, not last 3 quarters, basically the journey has begun for us for almost a year and a half back. Right, what we have basically done in last year and a half is that we have set our processes in place. We have basically bring so many changes into the organization at the operational level, which has helped us to increase our operational efficiency. And that operational efficiency has started reflecting in our profitability as well as in revenue. This is just a beginning actually. This is just a beginning for us and we have to go a mile on that, right? So the margins basically, as just chairman also says that in all good days we have reached up to 19-20% margin.
Oh, and wow. So there's more room on the upside to go for margins.
So that is what we are targeting now in next 2 years.
When is that? Okay, so 2 years later, fair to assume that 15% could go up to 19-20%.
And more than that, actually, I am a man of finance, and my target is on the bottom line. I am more looking on the PAT. So I am looking on that where I can increase my PAT to beyond 10% levels. So that is my target, because that's the money which is coming into my system and I'll be using it for the revenue growth purpose.
No, sorry, I have a question to both of you, and maybe Mr. Mamtora can speak about the color of the business, but just the numbers first, Chanchal. You did 1,300 crores in FY24.
Right.
You've given a guidance of 2,000 crores for FY25 and more, but 1,300 crores with 10% EBITDA margin is materially different from maybe 2,500 crores or what have you in FY26 with what 18-20% EBITDA margin.
Yes.
So you think that's a possibility? What is you've given 2,000 crores for FY25. What about FY26? I mean, is there a broad number in mind, and would EBITDA numbers be about 18-20% then?
FY26, FY25, 26 we are targeting beyond 3,000 crore.
3,000 crores in FY26.
Yes, that's right. And we have the vicinity of that.
And that would be accompanied with what margins? Sorry?
Margins will be also in that levels, around 17% we are targeting, and it will be there. We have the vicinity, my order book says, my inquiry says, right? And the kind of the product mix we have, actually in this country, nobody has got that product mix, and that is helping us to grow our margins. That's the biggest thing and biggest USP what we have. In the lean period, what sir has developed the products, they are basically now paying us back.
So would it be fair for us to assume you're not a price taker in your industry? And hence your margins are looking as good as they do, because clearly you don't have any captive raw materials or any of that that leads to a uptick on margins, right?
Yeah, that's right, that's right. You know, ultimately this industry right now, the first time the industry is demand is so huge, right? And that is helping us to little bit increase our margins.
What
That
capacity are you at right now?
As I was just talking to Harsh also, the capacity is a myth in our company basically, in our industry, right? If I make higher rating transformers in higher numbers and with repeated design, my capacity will increase automatically. Right now we assume that we are having almost 40,000 MVA capacity. But if I make a 500 MVA transformer of 8 numbers or 10 numbers in a month, it will go to 50,000 and it will reach up to, this is the one plant only. So that's the thing. So we as an engineering standard, we see right now we are at the 40,000 MVA. We are coming up with the capacity expansion of 15,000 MVA in next 4-5 months time. So we will be, by end of this year, we should be at 60 to 65,000 MVA capacity levels.
Quite interesting.
So that is, and that will be good enough to take us to the 4,000 or 4,500 numbers in next 2 years time.
Lovely. Would love to understand from Mr. Mamtora about the color and why this would happen. But just viewers, keep on remember that we'll keep on bringing you visuals of what's happening in Mumbai, and it's a sad day, but it's also a day of celebrating the life of Shri Ratan Tata. So keep that in mind. But Mr. Mamtora, he's talking about some very strong numbers as well. You've spoken about how in the past the industry went through tough times as well. Do you get a feeling, sir, that because of all the investments in power, so on and so forth, and the change in the sector and transformers as well, do you reckon that this cycle or this upcycle is here to stay for a few years? Why or why not?
At least for a decade.
At least for a decade?
Yeah.
Why do you say that, sir?
Because, see, we are shifting towards electrical vehicles. We are shifting towards green energy, which means solar and wind is going to play a major role, where you don't spend anything on the fuel. There is no fuel required, you know, it just comes free. Only thing is that, like, you know, if you look at the past, a solar plant used to cost something like 18 crores per megawatt. Now it costs, it went down as low as 2 crores.
That was about 5.
Now it is about 2.5.
2.5, okay.
Yeah, 2.5, 2.6. So with this, what happens is you need 5 times the capacity. Like if you put up a thermal plant, if it works at 100% efficiency, it gives you 100%. A solar plant, if you put up 100 megawatt, it will, on an average, it will give you 15 to 16 megawatt only, because you know it depends on the sun, the rays which it gets, and wind also like that. You know, about 5 to 6 times you have to make the investment, but still it is worth. Today, a thermal plant will cost you something like 8 to 9 crores. This will cost you equivalent plant if you want to put. It will cost you something like 10 to 12 crores, but there is no fuel required. So it just comes free.
Right, sir.
Right. And moreover, worldwide, like in America, if you see, today the waiting time or the lead time is more than 3 years. So people are talking about, they are floating the tenders for the requirement of 2029. 2029, I'm telling you. So 5 years.
So what's the ambition in your mind now?
See,
for how large can TRIL become in the course of this decade?
We are...
Let's not get into numbers. I'm just trying to think.
I'm talking about that. The main thing will be how we do go for the backward integration. Because backward integration is very, very essential for an industry like us, where, you know, the suppliers, look, if you look at the transformer business, transformer manufacturers takes the maximum hit. They gives the bank guarantee, which varies from 3 years to 5 years, which ultimately lead to around 8 years of bank guarantee, starting from contract bank guarantee and then this and that. So it's about 8 years. Our suppliers, they don't give any bank guarantee. they don't have any obligation to us. They supply the material and they forget it. Whether the material is good or bad, and we have to rely on them. So I want to focus also on those lines, and for that I visited China about 2 weeks back, and I was there for 6 days. I visited 6 cities in 6 days. I talked to them, and what we thought was that instead of experimenting with the materials, the backward integration.
Mr. Mamtora, I'm so sorry, but
Yeah, it
we'll
is
have to cut
such a-
across yet
Yes, sir.
again to the final.
No, it's a very, very good day in terms of that.
Sorry. We've just cut
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
with audio, so we won't be
No,
able to talk about it. But I'm sorry.
राजू राजू वो यहाँ पर आपको देखने के लिए मिलेगी वो सुंदर के जरिए यहाँ लेके जाएगा जहाँ पर रखा जाएगा तमाम बड़े नेता राष्ट्रीय स्तर पे और राष्ट्रीय स्तर से यहाँ पर आएंगे और दर्शन के लिए और दोपहर की 3 साल की मीटिंग का वक्त होगा जब वर्ल्ड की
Okay, well, of course, this is just that such a day, and Mr. Mamtora, I don't know whether you had a chance to interact with the great man, but you would have surely seen. I mean, because you've had your business at the times that he's built out the Tata empire too. Any thoughts on the greatness of Sri Ratan Tata?
See, Ratan Tata, before Ratan Tata, I will go to JRD Tata. When they were building Howrah Bridge, this is what I've heard, because I've never interacted with them. Or he thought of that what is going to be the requirement for making a Howrah Bridge. So he started with making the rivets, because there are no welding, in Howrah Bridge there are no welding, it is just rivets. So he was ready with all the rivets which were going to be required for making Howrah Bridge. See, that was the thought process, that's forward thinking. You can't see people doing that, right? So
What about Ratan Tata, sir?
Ratan Tata is, as I said, he's a very silent player. He did so many things. He came out with, the tussle with the other partner, Tata Sons. And he's slowly, I mean, without making any noise, he removed him from the main scene. So he's such a great man. Everybody talks about him. His passion for the work, his passion for selecting the kind of a business which he wants to do. Where, like if you talk about any industrialist in India, whether it is Bajaj, earlier, it was Bajaj, Birla, Ratan Tata. They were the three major players. And it was a time for, kind of a monopoly business. Like cars, if you see, it is Birla, Ambassador, and then Fiat and all that. But he ventured into the businesses which will take him to a different level. Ambani's and Adani's, they have come. Yeah, and their passion for business is great. But he was different.
I think Italy was a visionary.
Yeah, he was a
could look
visionary.
ahead, which none of
Totally.
us,
You
or
are
most
very
of
right.
us, could not.
He was visionary.
Yeah, just like you are in your business as well, sir.
No, I'm a passionate. But I'm passionate
and I
about
think,
my
you know,
business.
all these EQ factors that I think Jitendra talked about is so important, right? Very rarely do we talk about what really helps a business succeed in today's day and age. Numbers, sure, but you also need the passion, the drive, and just wanting to succeed. Chanchal, you know, Jitendra referred to the fact that backward integration is one thing that you all want to focus on. We've talked about how the company is on accelerated mode to achieve the kind of growth you're setting out for yourself. 20% margin is also not impossible for you. Any plans to go out and acquire companies, sort of work on the backward integration of the business to reach the next level?
No, we are already working on that basically. You know, one of exercise what we have done is we already signed a term sheet for taking a substantial interest basically in a CRGO processing unit, right? And this transaction is going to be closed in next couple of weeks time. So with that, we will be 100% in-house on the CRGO processing. And for the raw material side of the CRGO, we already signed the agreements with the bills to supply the electrical steels to us on next 2 to 3 years time. So CRGO is a product which is almost 35% of our raw material, which is very, very important project. So we have done that exercise. We are also going into heavily on the backward integration on the size of transformer tank manufacturing, which is the fabrication, which is the biggest bottleneck at this moment in this industry. So these are the activities we have done it, and we are also looking for some inorganic acquisition side. We are on pretty advanced stages on that. So the entire idea is that to basically make ourselves completely independent on the component side, right? And raw material side, we are already tying up with the raw players who are long into the system. So the thing is that the next 1 year down the line, we should have all the backward integration components in place, in-house. And that's the way. And in fact, our managing director is actually working on that direction completely to take those lines. And with the kind of guidance what we are getting from the chairman and the MD, we are sure that the legacy what Mr. Tata has created for the industry, that Tril also will create in this space, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mamtora, 60 seconds please before we wrap up. Any final words, what people should watch out for over the decade, because you mentioned it's a decadal thing.
See, as I said, 20% EBIT margin is not new to the industry.
And you will get there.
We will get it. And moreover, you know, if we talk about 20% margin 20 years back and 20% EBIT margin today, raw material prices have jumped to almost double during this time. So look about the absolute figures, bottom line of absolute figures.
And the pricing power probably that exists.
So 20% there and 20% here
is a different
is a different, totally a different ball game.
Lovely.
Right? So this is what we are looking at.
We wish you
Good luck.
Yeah.
And congratulations, been a phenomenal quarter. We'll pull up the stock for you as well. It's hit upper circuit, you'd be happy to know, over the last few days.
Yes.